It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If anything, as an Indians fan, I've got nothing but coal for Christmas. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another Major League Baseball recap. We have so many stories to talk about. Ian Kinsler, one of my favorite players of all time, one of the last remaining members of that championship Rangers team with Josh Hamilton, Adrian Beltre, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Michael Young Cliffley. That team was a squad. One of the last remaining members is almost gone. Nelson Cruz is pretty much the last guy. We have Dallas Keuchel news. So many signings that are going to make a huge impact for teams going forward. So we're going to talk about every single thing today. Make sure you guys are subscribed and leave a like on this video if you want me to make more up-to-date and in-depth baseball videos. And without further ado, it's time to start talking baseball. Like I said, guys, Ian Kinsler, one of the best second basemen of the last decade, has officially retired, and I don't know why he chose to do it now, because if we take a look at his stats, he has 257 career home runs, 243 stolen bases, he's won 2 Gold Gloves, but he has 1,999 hits. He's 1 hit away from 2,000. If I was Ian Kinsler, I probably would have just gone out and played for 2020, got some money, got over 2,000 base hits, because if we look at it, he has a higher career WAR than Joe Mauer, David Ortiz, and Evan Longoria. He amassed a 57.2 WAR in the seasons that he did play. That's really, really good. And also, he was second only to Mike Trout in runs scored in the last decade. So if you don't think that Ian Kinsler was good, you don't know baseball. Now, will he make the Hall of Fame? That is an entirely different discussion. One player that I can kind of compare him to is Chase Utley, but Chase Utley amassed a 65 career WAR, while Ian Kinsler, 57 is still really good, but two different players, honestly. Chase Utley, I mean, he's one of the GOAT second basemen of all time. Say what you want. You might think he's a dirty player, but the guy could ball. We're going to get to the Dallas Keuchel signing in just a second, but before we do that, we have 3 or 4 little ones to talk about. The first one being Travis Shaw. This one just came out before I recorded this video, so thank the Lord that I procrastinated, because otherwise I would have missed this. Travis Shaw signed a deal with the Blue Jays. This hurts my feelings, so we're going to rant a little bit in today's video, because as an Indians fan, we are losing out on everyone, and when we do trade someone, or if we do acquire someone, it's an awful trade. We'll talk about that. It's been an awful time for an Indians fan, but I wanted them to sign Travis Shaw. He could have played third base or second base. You have J. Ram at third. You have J. Ram at second. He's a versatile guy. We missed out on that, so if you're a Blue Jays fan, he's probably going to play second, maybe. You have Kevin Biggio, you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm not sure where he's going to play unless he's going to man the DH position. Next up, we have Justin Smoak. He signs a 1-year deal with the Milwaukee Brewers, so they just lost their guy, Mr. Mike Moustakas, so they need to try and replace his offense, and they're going to be doing that with Justin Smoak. He's been an absolute force for the Blue Jays, not so much in 2019, but he has shown that he can rake. And then last but not least, in terms of like the bigger ones that I found, Julio Teheran signs a 1-year deal with the Angels worth like $9 million or something crazy like that. Do you guys know that Tehran's fastball velocity has dropped in every single season since 2015? It started off at like 93, 94, and last season it was like 89, 90. So Julio Teheran, is he going to find a rebirth in LA? I'm hoping that he does, because I want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs almost as bad as I want to see the Indians win a World Series. So can we make that happen, please? The AL West is not as strong either. If Michael Franco going to the Kansas City Royals on a 1-year deal, Tyler Clippard is going to the Minnesota Twins. You trader, going from the Indians to the Twins. I'm telling you, the Indians are having one of the worst off seasons in the history of Major League Baseball. I don't even want to talk about it. And then the Detroit Tigers, they have officially become the Detroit Twins, because they just signed Jonathan Scope and CJ Cron to 1-year deals. Why did I put up 2? I don't know. But yeah, the Detroit Tigers, they're trying to get all the home runs from the Twins. So they're definitely not going to be hitting 300 in 2020, but at least they're trying. They're rebuilding and trying to win games. I give them props. Now it is time to talk about the meat and potatoes of today's video. The Chicago White Sox, after not making the playoffs one time of the last decade, from 2010 to 2019. If you guys don't know, the White Sox didn't make the playoffs one single time. I read that in an article and I thought to myself, I could have sworn they made at least one. Nope. It's been dominated by the Tigers, the Indians, and now the Twins, apparently. But the fact that they just signed Dallas Keuchel after having a really good second half in 2019, I'm going to go ahead and read off this real quick. So Dallas Keuchel, the 3 years, $55.5 million. Props to him. He didn't sign with the Braves until like midway point of 2019, so his family was kind of in limbo. They didn't have a place to call home. Now they can call Chicago their home, and I'm happy for him. But aside from that, the White Sox, in the last 5 months have been a pretty good team. Eloy Jimenez in the second half had 15 home runs and an 870 OPS. That is really good from a rookie. You have Yoan Moncada, who finished top 21 in the MVP. That'll do it as well. On top of that, Lucas Giolito finished 6th in the Cy Young. We have Tim Anderson, who won the batting title. The list goes on. Michael Kopech is returning from injury. This guy looks to be the next Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander if he is healthy and if he is on top of his game. They have signings of Yasmani Grandal, Dallas Keuchel. They signed Gio Gonzalez, who had a 3 ERA and then a 2.18 ERA in 2018 with the Brewers. So he's going to fill in that rotation pretty nicely as well. They traded for Nomar Mazara, who has the longest home run of the last season at 505 feet. Now, yes, the ball is not going to carry in Chicago like it did in Texas, but they have so many guys on their squad, and they haven't even called up who could be their best player. Luis Robert, he won the minor league player of the year in 2019. I think he had 32 home runs, had a 1,000 OPS. So if he gets called up, if they have an outfield of Eloy Jimenez, Nomar Mazara, and Luis Robert, that might be the most powerful outfield in the game. It might be. So I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below. Does this make the White Sox a threat to challenge the American League Central after not winning a single playoff game or making the playoffs in the last 10 seasons? The Indians, if they keep Lindor, I still believe in my team. I'm going to rant real quick because even though I believe in my team, maybe I'm being a little bit biased right now. If we keep Lindor, we still have a really solid rotation with Shane Bieber, Mike Clevenger, Zach Plesac, Aaron Savali, Adam Pluko. They all showed some progress. I didn't even mention Carlos Carrasco. So if Carrasco's our number 3, I'd be okay with that. In our lineup, I mean, we still have Franmil Reyes. We might have Francisco Lindor. Jose Ramirez was Barry Bonds in the second half. Yes, he was that good. So I think that it's going to be a much more competitive race. And the fact that the Royals, they're improving as well. They just signed Michael Franco. Maybe they're better. Fact is, the AL Central is not going to be the dumpster fire that it has been for the last couple seasons. Everyone has always written off the Indians saying the AL Central is really weak, and I'll give you that. Looking back, the AL Central was garbage for quite some time with the White Sox, the Royals, and the Tigers, but pretty much every single team aside from the Indians has gotten better this offseason, so I give them some props. Maybe the Twins have gotten worse after losing Scope and CJ Cron, 2 big bats in their lineup, so I'm not really what are the Twins doing? Yeah, the Twins and the Indians, they're kind of taking L's this offseason, so I'm sorry if you're a Twins fan, because I rejoiced in their success. It was kind of nice to see another team do well in the American League Central, so it was almost like the LeBron in the East argument where LeBron always goes to the championship because he plays in the East and it's so weak. Now he goes to the West and everyone says the West is weak. I don't really know. It's basketball, it's baseball, 2 different things. I'm trying to compare apples to oranges, but it made sense in my head. So before you guys leave, again, let me know who is going to win the 2020 American League Central, or do you think it's not time to predict? Because Josh Donaldson, we're going to talk about him right now. He is still a free agent, and guess what? The Minnesota Twins, they've been in contact with his agent, and they might be able to give him a contract, especially after they saved the money. They saved about $13 million of not re-signing Jonathan Scope and CJ Cron. If you put Josh Donaldson in that same lineup with Nelson Cruz, Jorge Polanco, Eddie Rosario, Max Kepler, Mitch Garver, I think you can honestly repeat the 300 home runs that you had in 2019. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't think it's going to, but Josh Donaldson, he would make it that much easier to do. So he's pretty much the biggest fish left on the market. There's Hyun-Jin Ryu. I think that he is going to go to the Twins. Honestly, the Twins right now, even though they've taken L's this offseason after losing a couple guys, they did get Tyler Clippard, they re-signed Sergio Romo, they can still get Josh Donaldson or Hyun-Jin Ryu. The Twins are sitting pretty, whereas the Indians, what are we doing? I'm gonna go ahead and just calm down real quick because this video is almost wrapped over. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Also, guys, I'm doing a series on my channel of the top 50 baseball players, and I'm not sure if you guys just don't care or not seeing it, but here's the playlist. We're on episode number 3, and it's very, very spicy so far. So if you guys want to watch that, have something to do when you're playing games or working, something like that, right here. And that pretty much does it for today's update video. Dallas Keuchel had a 3.75 ERA in 2019. He is known to be a guy that is going to get ground balls. So having Tim Anderson at shortstop, I'm not really too sure how that's going to go. Moncada at third, that's going to be great. But Tim Anderson, not the best fielding shortstop. His fielding percentage, even if you play MLB The Show, his finest card, they boost up the stats. They're not really realistic. Even his fielding was still pretty bad. So he is going to have some trouble over there if Dallas Keuchel's on the mound. A ground ball pitcher, going to get a lot of things to shortstop, and he might boot a couple. So is that going to cost them games? We'll have to go ahead and see. I truly think that the Chicago White Sox, whether it's by winning the American League Central or going through the wild card, they look to be really good, especially if Kopech is doing what he does, and if Luis Robert gets called up and he's even half of what he was in the minors. Might be time for the Indians to start rebuilding. Might be time to give away Francisco Lindor, because we might not be better than Twins. We might not be better than the White Sox. We might be a third-place team in 2020, and that pains me. That pains me. I've been spoiled lately, even though we've choked in 2016, 17, got destroyed in 2018, and then missed the playoffs in 2019. Who am I kidding? Spoiled. We're so cheap. Major League Baseball made almost $11 billion in 2019. Can't sign Francisco Lindor. The White Sox keep him. Dude, I'm done. I'll see you guys later. Make sure you guys turn on those bells, subscribe. Peace out. Dallas Keuchel to the White Sox. What is that?